Welcome back to a best of 5 series of Terran versus Protoss. What I've got for you today is the finals of the ESL Open Cup for the European server. And of course, who do you think it's gonna be? Spawning right here in the top left-hand corner in game number 1 on Amphion. We're doing Amphion as map 1? Really? Playing with the blue Terran SCVs. You know him, you love him. We have none other than Clem, who, by the way, Clem, where's the polar bear? We're on the European server, you're still in Mlem. Where is the polar bear? Somebody get Clem on the line. I am not standing for this. His opponent, though, in the opposite corner. He's never had a decal. Playing with the red Protoss pieces. We're looking, of course, at none other than MaxPax's main Nexus. Thought for a second Clem had a new account. But no. This is Team Mlem Liquid Clem. Team Mlem Liquid. Try and say that 3 times fast. Mlem Liquid Clem. Mlem Liquid. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do it. That's tough. Rumor has it if you say that 3 times fast in front of a mirror, he actually appears. Yeah, wouldn't want that. These two, they play against each other all the time. It's kind of nuts, actually, to see this map as map number 1. It's not that it's necessarily a terrible map. I mean, it's pretty bad for Protoss. Terran has like a 60-something% win rate against Protoss on this particular map. So for MaxPax to allow it to slip through the cracks, I mean, obviously you only have a limited amount of vetoes, but normally this is not a map 1 type of map. Clem immediately putting down his foot. And we'll have to see what we're gonna do in this series. These two in general, obviously, they know each other in and out. Usually TVP is played quite aggressively, but not really quite as aggressively as these two tend to play it. Are we gonna go proxy? I mean, we do have the second pylon built at home. Alright. Yeah, Clem is not entirely sure about that probe going home either. So he's checking, but he did not check far enough. And indeed, MaxPax is building a pylon. Alright. He hasn't gone for any sort of tech at home just yet, so we'll have to see what the proxy is going to be. Doesn't really make sense here to make a... I mean, you could make a Stargate, but I think it's probably going to be a Robo? Honestly, also a bit weird. No, it's probably going to be a Stargate. It's a gateway. Alright. We're just going to go full aggression. Fair enough. Also an option. We're just going to make a load of stuff and throw it at the opponent. Yeah. Chrono Boost will probably be used on the Warp Gate research here. There's the starport coming up. I mean, the command center is already finished, right? And as long as Clem can fly his structures away, this is one of those things where it can be quite difficult for the Protoss to actually get into the main base. The bunker on the low ground, of course, is nice. It will probably not hold all of the aggression. Clem, by the way, decided to go for a scoutless opener, so he has no idea what's going on. Now we have a Twilight Council at home, so... yeah, MaxPax definitely needs to deal some sort of damage, but it's not going to be a complete all-in here. I was hoping for a more all-in-y variant, I'll be honest with you. Are we just gonna sit here? Yeah? I think he's ready to go for like a cheeky little counter-attack, as Terran may be thinking about going across here in just a moment. There's the additional adept showing up, though. And we're just gonna shade by all of these units. Or at least the bunker, yeah. No, I wouldn't mind, that's not gonna happen. Okay, nice split right there by the Protoss player, although one of the adepts running dangerously low. Good targeting as well by Clem, who's now gonna use his medevac energy to try and keep his SCVs alive. It works surprisingly well. Now obviously Clem will realize here for quite a while already that the unit production from the Protoss has been a little too great. Speaking of unit production now, MaxPax not upgrading any of his units yet using the Twilight Council. Just focused here on dealing as much damage with this aggression as possible. So maybe originally he was thinking he wasn't going to be able to deal too much damage here. Now Blink will start up. The alternative is that MaxPax made a mistake. And considering we all know that MaxPax may just be an AI, or maybe Serral in disguise, the odds of him making mistakes are quite low. Eventually, though, Terran should be able to muster up enough units here to push all of this back. Obviously, the Cyclone is pretty sweet. And as long as you can lift up these units, there we go. You can keep microing against it as well, although When Blink finishes, life should be a bit easier for MaxPax, who now decides to go for a third Nexus on the low ground. These guys are so aggressive. There's a ramp as well leading up towards the high ground. Not a lot of maps currently feature that. So those Stalkers almost have to face tank their way up there. Oh, okay. Stalkers, luckily here for MaxPax, absolutely greased up. They managed to slither away. In the meantime, there was a little bit of counterattack aggression as well. Killing 4 probes here is that 1 Liberator. Robo facility on the back of this. Blink will soon finish up. Yeah, I think MaxPax was meaning to start up that upgrade a little bit earlier, because it would have been finished by now. Liberator now going around the site, trying to see if maybe it can get some more damage in, but it now accidentally stumbles upon a third base. Blink's finishing up. So now the Stalker can easily get away. Waiting until the last second. You love to see it. Another Libdo in the main base now. Ooh, accidentally shooting at one of the probes that ran into the gas geyser. I mean, these Liberators are basically dealing as much damage, if not more, as all of that Stalker aggression from earlier. Even though a lot of them will likely... Well, a lot of them. All 2 of them will probably end up going down here in the end. This is still quite a frustrating sequence of events right here for Max. Now, Medevac is following this up as well. Keep in mind that there is absolutely no vision on the left side of the map for Protoss. We have a Twilight Council. There is 1 observer. Yeah, it's gonna scan the left side of the map right now, but Medevac is gonna completely unload. Stimpack not done yet. Combat shields and +1 also quite a ways behind it. So the probes, okay, they're just gonna get gunned down right here by a bunch of Marines. Recall is gonna be used right now on those Stalkers that were ready to go in for the aggression. Can we at least blink and kill the Medevac? Nope. Liberator coming around the site. Clem also saves that. Expertly done right here by the French Terran. Eventually, these units are going to die. I don't know if they realized it was a one-way trip. If they didn't, that would be a bit sad, but they get to spend their last seconds killing probes. And isn't that the dream of every Terran Marine, huh? Yeah. You're the chosen one. Very nice drop right there by Clem. Really good base defense. Now he shuts down that aggression as well. Really, MaxPax is leaning onto a Storm upgrade here. Storm is really his only way out, but it's still like a minute away, if chrono boosted, from finishing. And Clem is already ready to go across. Combat shields is done at this point. Stimpack has finished, so those Marines and Marauders can be extra powerful. +1 infantry weapons is not far behind. Concussive shells. I think Clem has an opportunity here to go and win the game. There is, of course, a third base here for the Protoss that's been up and running for some time. Clem's third Nexus, or his command center rather, is a little ways behind all of this. Yeah, Clem doesn't even really want to kill the base. He just wants to win the game now. And I think he's gonna get his wish. GG. Actually. G. It's 1 G less. Golden Aura is gonna be the second map. This one is a lot more laid back. Compared to Amphion, I don't think we're gonna see nearly as much aggression, but honestly, you can never really tell. We'll find out here in just a moment. But this should be a map where both players can breathe. Never mind. No more breathing. The time for breathing is in the past. What we do is proxy barracks. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah. Not even like subtly positioned and hiding off to the right side in the far... No. We're gonna do... Yeah, we're gonna just put it right over there. If Max sees this and he kills the SCV, it's basically GG. Or, as he would say, G. But he doesn't. Yeah, probes see in a circle around themselves. They have eyes in the back. But they can't see very far. Yeah, the sight radius around units in this game is always a bit funky. I mean, it's the only reasonable way to do it, but the fact that units can see behind them, but no further than maybe like 20 meters away is a bit strange. Because personally, my eyeballs allow me to see quite far away. I don't want to flex or anything, but I could see further away than a probe. But I can't see behind myself. Yeah. It's just gonna be a cheeky little Reaper opener. It's one of those builds that's not really that committed. Now with the Reaper also not really having a great opportunity to get into the main base, Clem is going to have to go all the way around. And when I say all the way, it's only going to add a couple seconds of travel time, but it's going to make the defense a little bit easier for MaxPax, who really needs to get a Stalker or, for example, an Adept out against this sort of shenanigans. Bunkers coming up on the low ground. Really, this dance that we see all the time is really just more or less a skill check. Yeah, sorry about that, Reaper. This Reaper, I mean, I didn't want to call you a skill check, but you are. Getting 2 probes is good. I think 3 probes would be better. So, with a shield battery, the Stalker can easily clean all of this up. Just a little ways away. Yep, we're gonna continue to dance over here. SCV, there you go. Repairs for a little bit, pops back into the bunker. Pops back into the bunker again. Second Reaper shows up. I mean, the shield battery is running quite low. I love that. So the damage in StarCraft 2 is calculated when it connects to the actual unit. That's cute. Yeah, it's calculated when it actually connects with the unit, so you can get a lot of value out of this. Alright. It was gonna go wrong at some point. Tries to salvage the bunker. Does not quite get most of his money back. And this is the type of game that these two are playing while they're playing the game. This is like a little mini game, you know? You know, like how on TikTok you have like those videos that are meant for Gen Alpha and Gen Z, where you have like Subway servers on the site and stuff to try and keep your attention span as low as possible? That's basically what these two do with their little early game shenanigans. That little SCV Stalker dance is basically the Subway servers of StarCraft 2. Now, we do have a nice little bit of body blocking here as well, actually. Ooh, Cyclone manages to secure the kill on the Stalker. Nice grenade as well to try and boop that Stalker away. Stalker obviously has a little bit of a faster movement speed. And it actually backs off. Lovely control here by Clem. Okay. So, by the way, a Stargate opener this time around. I didn't highlight it yet, but Clem did see it. So he knows that this is likely going to be Phoenixes. SCVs pulled down to the low ground, because they're going to give the Cyclone the hug of love. Yeah, Reaper wanted to be loved as well, but he didn't get any love. Look at this guy. You jealous? I'm kind of jealous, not going to lie. Makes me wonder if I was okay, I would like to be mechanical, I think. Yeah. If you could be any StarCraft unit, what would you be? Any mechanical StarCraft unit? I feel like being a Cyclone is kind of fun. It's kind of unique, too, because you never see a lot of them. Phoenix. Flying in. Hellbats. Vikings are cool too, I guess. I think being a Viking would be sick. Because you can transform. You have to be very agile. Like, I don't know what it feels like if you are inside of the Viking when you're dropping to the ground and stuff. Like, the G-forces must be nuts. A Robo facility is out at this point, and we have a Robo Bay on the back of this. MaxPax is ready to extend his lance. Although we will probably see a Colossus started up as soon as possible. It's still going to be a while until all of it is done. Clem moving forward. He knows that this is going to be a ways away. It's just the map, right? The map makes it difficult for him really to be aggressive. Immortal is very powerful. Okay, that Liberator though. Ooh, the Liberator and the 2 Vikings. 1 Widowmine as well, making it difficult for those Phoenixes to engage. And we're doing a crazy 2-base slow push right here for Clem. This is super dangerous, super easy for him to go terribly wrong. There's the battery overcharged. Immortal stays alive, but you know what? The Liberator, together with the Siege Tank, they actually get a lot of work done. In the meantime, the Phoenixes have intercepted a couple of the reinforcing units. There's the Colossus coming up. No extended thermal lens here anytime soon, because Max cannot afford it. Did Clem just do this? Did he just... That was actually so crazy. Widowmine, by the way, now burrowed underneath the siege tank. Getting the kill on this map on a third Nexus at this point in the game is actually nuts. Really difficult to achieve. There's no stim pack or combat shields or anything like that, so Clem really needs to get value out of all of this. Zealots and probes now trying their very best. Loads of workers will end up going down. Colossus at this point is ready to shoot some lasers as well. Ay, GG. Very, very well done right there by Clem. Ghost River is going to be the third game in this best of 5 series where I have my scoreboard messed up. All right, 2-0 advantage right now for Clem. Is this going to be another one of those weeks where he's just going to win 3-0? Those have happened a lot. He's been there many times. Although lately it seems like MaxPax is, well, going back and forth, really. I feel like these two have been trading wins for the last couple of months. MaxPax really the only person here that seems to be giving Clem any issues. Likewise, Clem, the only person that's really giving MaxPax any issues. So let's see. They always meet in the grand finals too. I don't really know how the seating works, but it always seems that these two always meet in the grand finals of this tournament. Rarely in the semis or any time before that. Alrighty. Double gas opener here for Clem. Ghost River, of course, a map with a very quick rush distance. If you manage to get across the map with a big army, it's just gonna show up like 5 to 10 seconds or so earlier than on most other maps, which is very significant. So you have to be careful. Air to air, the rush distance is even more significant. So most of the time, Protosses do seem to favor going for a Stargate-based build. If you go like second pylon, right, and then you go for the Stargate right about right over here or Stargate over there, you can get to your opponent's natural so quickly. Then again, though, the Stargate opener didn't really work very well for MaxPax in the previous game. So I have to see what his weapon of choice is going to be. I always feel like MaxPax is the type of guy who wants to play Blink Stalker, but he just can't. And he shouldn't play it every game, but he, you know, if he had any say in the matter, he would love to just play Blinky Boys every single game. MaxPax used to be quite a cheesy player a couple years ago. Maybe like 3-4 years ago, he used to cheese the majority of his games. Then he realized, wait a second, what if I actually get good at the game? Oh, nice wall in. And he started grinding these games and just really, like, figure out the exact response to practically everything that the opponents can throw at him. Which really is the hallmark of a great player. MaxPax must have grinded tens of thousands of games ever since, because he seems to be online pretty much all the time. And, well, originally, when he first started playing macro games almost all the time, he started off the games with Blink Stalker. At least the ones against Terran, and I feel like over the last year or so, he's really broadened his horizons quite a bit. Obviously, he always played a bit of variety here and there, but I would say that he's really grown as a player with a very large range of strategies. We don't really see him cheesing very much anymore. I think that's probably going to be the next step in MaxPax's master plan. I would not be surprised if he's going to be a lot more aggressive again at some point in the future. Usually, everything turns back around. It's like the cycle of StarCraft strats. He may go back to cheesing every once in a while. Yeah, I mean, we saw some of that, I guess, in the first game of this series. Yeah, he's already starting to mix it in. Except that obviously his micro now is 10 times better than it was a few years ago. Good start here once again though for Clem. Not really slowed down very much, getting the kill. It is an Oracle first, and that, well, at the very least the Adept managed to do the job of dragging that entire Terran army away. Ooh, getting the Mule would be nice. Not gonna happen. Liberator. Terrible air-to-air. But obviously the Oracle does not have air-to-air. And apparently we have no recall for you, buddy. Okay, this is not the opener that Max is hoping for. He does have a quick third Nexus. That is nice. This is a quick third Nexus without a robo facility, so we're very much so leaning into these Stargate units to keep them alive. And Phoenixes are nice and all, but they are a little flimsy, right? They are very easy to accidentally lose the game with. Yeah, you cannot really afford losing any additional units right now as MaxPax. He needs to be microing cleanly. Looks like the follow-up is going to be Twilight Council together with a Forge. Okay. So Max needs another few minutes here before he's really comfortable. You gotta manage your energy as well on these Phoenixes. One thing that's easily forgotten is that Phoenixes are actually flying wizards. Yeah, these are like the Gandalfs of the sky over here. They need a certain amount of energy to get their graviton lift. And when they have less than 50, you can't actually do anything with them. So the big question is, when is Clem gonna go across the map? He's got Stimpack and combat shields mostly done. No +1 infantry this time around. It's a bit weird. Why do we not have +1 infantry, Clem? Did you forget it? Yeah, I think he did. Alright. It's a bit strange to see him making the engineering bay and then not make any use of it. He must have thought he clicked it. It's one of those things you sort of do on autopilot. You queue up the upgrades when you have the right amount of resources, and sometimes you click the structure when you're at like 90 or something, right? And then by the time you're done clicking the structure, you have like 98. 98 gas, and then you just barely do not have enough to actually start up the +1. Now he begins it. So he meant to start up the +1 armor there, and then he realized I never started up the +1 infantry attacks. Clem at least finds the proxy pylon. But now this makes it all a little bit awkward for him, because he doesn't have a third command center. He's been meaning to go for a big 2-base push. But do you still want to commit to a big 2-base push when you don't have your +1 attack? Well, I mean, that's a nice start, I guess. 2 of the Widow Mines hiding behind the gas geyser. Pretty much out of sight. He kills one of the Phoenixes with it. Clem is marching around the map right now, but he's decided that he doesn't really want to be too aggressive. Alright, that means the ball is back in the court right here of MaxPax. I think Max would have been okay against a big attack here. But Clem apparently believes that without +1, he's just not going to be able to achieve much, and he throws his entire build order away. Yeah, mistakes were made. 4th Nexus comes up. MaxPax may have clicked on one of these units, by the way, and realized that that is the reason why we don't see any aggression here. Phoenix is trying to make it difficult for those medevacs to disengage, and whew, there we go. Alright. And that is what MaxPax really kind of needed in this series. It's not very good, though, to be relying on your opponent to make a mistake. It's not a very reliable way of winning games, I suppose, but this does mean that MaxPax is ready to go for a big push here. We are on 8 gateways right now, 2 more coming up. We have a robo facility again as well on the back of all of this, so he can go for some aggression. Ghost Academy is building. Ghost Academy normally gets built when you have the 3rd command center secured. Ghosts are obviously with EMP incredibly powerful against Zealots, where we're still about a minute or so away from those being particularly useful. There's a proxy gate in the bottom left-hand corner as well for MaxPax to continue warping in. And I think he's just about ready to just make a stupid amount of Protoss units and go. He doesn't have to go all in with this, though. He can just wait for the Terran to come across. The only problem is that this army here of Protoss is not really getting any better. Whereas Terran is going to make significant improvements with their composition as soon as these ghosts hit the battlefield, which is going to be very soon. Okay. Nice liftoff right there with the leftover Phoenixes. There's still a few of those Widow Mines scattered around. Good splits right there again by MaxiPax. Stimpack gets activated. There's not really that many medevacs available at this point in time. Prism unloads inside of the natural expansion and warps in an additional 10 Zealots. That one got cancelled. MaxPax now finds himself with a mass amount of resources in the bank. Colossus is coming up. Clem never started up the +2, by the way, during all of this. Medivac's low on energy, it seems, or at the very least unable to heal up these bio units back up to full. Maybe a bit of overstimming as well there on the side of the Terran. Now the Colossus is done. Okay, don't rally that on the wrong side of the rocks. Stalkers are going to get their blink upgrade within the next half minute. Battery overcharge. Early pull right there by MaxPax. I think both players are making some uncharacteristic errors. Very rarely do we see MaxPax popping the battery overcharge early. Alright. It happens. It happens. It happens. Nothing to be ashamed of. Sometimes you get overeager. Looks like the gateway right now will get spotted in the bottom left-hand corner. There's the extended thermal lens. We have a bit of a skirmish here in the middle of the map. I don't think this is the moment, really, for MaxPax to be moving too far. He needs to get that ranged upgrade done first. Clem is kind of stuck, though, on these bases right now. Like, he's going into a 4th. It's like 3/4 of the way done. But MaxPax already has a 5th base up and running. I mean, we are very deep into a game right now. 11 minutes in. Clem is halfway done with his +1 armor. Armory has been late. Considering this has mostly been 3-base and 2-base play from him, those upgrades are very, very late. And the problem is that's one of those mistakes that carries on for like the first 20 minutes of the game. Like until both players finish up 3-3, Clem is going to be behind in those upgrades. Doesn't sound very significant, but those units just hit so much harder. Let's see. MaxPax has been trying to find a proper chokehold on the opponent for a while. This may just be it. Good EMP right there on those Zealots. Colossi moving forward. Vikings up in the air trying to snipe those Colossi out of the sky as quickly as possible. There's a Liberator here sieged up, trying to do whatever it can. Some of the Zealots right now do walk within range, but the Protoss army is just too big. GG gets called, and MaxPax gets a point on the board. Side Delta is next. What are we gonna do this time around? So far, nothing all too weird. Again, a nice, straightforward macro map. Cyber Core going down on the side of the Protoss. We'll see what his plan of attack is going to be. So we also have a 20 supply Nexus right now. So 20 supply Cyber Core into a 20 supply Nexus. All very, very normal. Probe in the meantime, trying to be annoying on the other side of the map. Clem not bothering with scouting a whole lot. Which could certainly bite him in the butt. Because in the majority of the game so far, if not all actually, I haven't been paying special attention to it, but in quite a few of the games so far, Clem has not bothered scouting in the early game at all. Like maybe he sends the Marine out to check if there's like a, I don't know, a very obvious proxy gate or something along those lines. Yeah. We're just gonna hang out at home and do a little bit of checking on this side of the map, but okay. I don't think MaxPax is gonna punish him for it here, but it is something worth noting, and certainly something that MaxPax is picking up on as well. It'll be a Twilight Council opener this time around. It used to sort of be a running joke for some time as well, where everybody should always be defaulting to Blink Stalkers in this matchup, unless MaxPax is not playing Blink Stalker. Because if MaxPax is not playing Blink Stalker, the map must be really bad for Blinky boys. Nowadays, that's not really true anymore, but I would say like a half year, maybe 9 months or so ago, that is something you would hear. Obviously though, Twilight Council is nice with the Blink upgrade, then you can harass the opponent and deal damage and sometimes straight up win the game. Problem is if the opponent goes for, say for example, a Widowmine drop, and the Medevac is just sort of hanging out over here. Or say there's like a Raven on the back of this. Raven is hanging out right over there. right? You just do not have any flying air-to-air attacks. And Terran can just always hover in the corner of your base, and if you don't pay attention for a split second... Oh, okay. You may just end up losing the game. Now, this is a Dark Templar rush. This is Dark Templar here from Max. Okay. Yeah, I think Clem is playing this as a very greedy series. So obviously he's ahead. Previous game he made a mistake. Was punished for it. Made the game a little harder for him. Now he's still not scouting anything. And this is one of those builds that can accidentally win you the game. As MaxPax. He obviously does need to defend against the medevac drop. He would preferably not use, well, any Dark Templar against this. If he, you know, can at all avoid it. Because that would spoil the surprise. 6 probes going down so far. Main question is, will there be any detection here for Clem whatsoever? So, there is no tech lab, so he's not going to be able to go for a Raven. He should have some energy available on one of these orbital commands, but currently he just dropped a mule. Normally Terrans will save up energy. It's a little bit of a supply block right here as well for Clem. Interesting. Clem making back-to-back mistakes. Getting a little too over-eager right there with his mule production too. He sees the shimmer. I don't think we really had a lot of kills here, but he sees the shimmer and he immediately taps out. He's got no counter against the invisible men. Okay. And what was previously looking like a easy win for Clem is now suddenly evened up. Okay. Clem is apparently gonna be the one who will be aggressive this time around? Yeah, we're rallying SCVs towards the far left of the map. He's not really doing a lot of scouting, but I think we're gonna... Okay. I think we're gonna go for proxy barracks here to decide the series. It's a bold move, because MaxPax usually scouts quite thoroughly. He will once again automatically send a probe across the map. Seeing the lack of barracks inside of the main base of the Terran is not going to give him all of the information he really needs. Because obviously, well, Clem has already shown us earlier on in this series as well. Just a single proxy barracks, 1 Reaper, that's about it. This is a much more committed push this time around here from the French Terran player. MaxPax is going to have to get across the map and realize what's going on. So there is a bit of a giveaway. For example, there's a set timing on the command center follow-up. There's a set timing on the second gas. When MaxPax realizes that neither of those two things is building, that could give him the information he truly needs, it's gonna be double tech lab, I think. Yep, double tech lab into mass marauder. The Zealot is building right now. The Zealot is a response to not seeing the barracks on the side of the Terran. Clem is pretending like he wants to build a command center on the low ground, and MaxPax is countering a hypothetical command center. He's now assuming that the CC will be right over here. Zealot is looking around, or Probe Marauder is looking around. Zealot is coming across right now too. Marauders indeed are going to be the name of the game here. So he's making 2 of them at once. We do need to see the concussive shells research here as well in a moment. MaxPax is scouting the main base. So he's seen no production structure. I think this is pretty obvious right now that something is very fishy. He starts up a blind shield battery, but he's gonna need more than that. Stalkers are coming. We may need another gateway or whatever. Like, you just need to not die here. That's the main objective. This is a committed all-in here from Clem. He needs to deal significant amounts of damage. And now that he's been spotted, he decides to commit. Second battery coming up. Keep in mind that there's only 1 pylon here keeping all of this alive. Marauder range is not that large. MaxPax just trying to buy time. Yep, shield battery overcharge is an option as soon as the Nexus finishes. There's not really a lot of production in the meantime at home, so Clem only sitting at 17 SCVs, of which 2 of them are over here on this side of the map. This is the calm before the storm. Both players know what's gonna happen. But Clem is waiting for his upgrade. Alright, it's done. This will be the army. Yeah. Let's dance. MaxPax is wearing his tutu. Clem's got his dancing shoes on. Probes are coming from the mineral line as well. One of them, ooh, one of the Stalkers gets dangerously low. He doesn't want to pop battery overcharge too early. This is a fight, though, that could last for quite a while, but he has plenty of energy for now. There's the battery overcharge. Wants to save that additional Stalker. The healing rate is, of course, a bit quicker. Nice little bit of damage coming out of those probes as well. Good control there as well, though, by the Terran player. Pulling back the weakened Marauder. Okay. Both SCVs at this point are gone, and I think this is looking really good for Max. Now Warp Gate is done, so the production here of those Stalkers is a little bit quicker. MaxPax now starting to mix in additional pro production too, and apparently we're pulling the rest of the boys. Clem is going from all in into all in. Stalkers are becoming a little bit more adventurous. Probe on the other side of the map will notice the lack of units in the mineral line. Assuming MaxPax has had the time to look at it, well, now he knows exactly what he's going up against. Battery overcharge is available again in about 20 seconds, so not yet. But there are just simply so many shield batteries to begin with. And what was previously a 2-0 lead for Clem turns out to be a 3-2 all reverse sweep here from MaxPax. That is so sick. We don't see that very often at this level.